Good evening, everybody, and welcome to WOR for the finale of Season 16. We are at the Shanghai International Circuit in China for what is... We're finally going to decide who is going to be the champion of Tier 1. We've got 4 drivers in the I don't know, chance of winning it. I'm so excited I can't even speak properly. Joseph, welcome along. This is going to be absolutely insane.
I've been very excited for this all day, to be honest, and it's rare, actually, I get too excited about a League Racing Championship fight, but it's the first time in WOR Tier 1 history that 4 drivers will battle it out to take the ultimate console crown, and all 4 looking to do it for the first time as well. What is not to love about this evening? Hopefully it all goes as smoothly as possible, and hopefully we get a fair and square winner.
So, for a chance of winning the championship, we know that Sammy Shempsey needs to be in the top 2. He needs luck on his side. The other 3, if they finish in the top 3 and finish ahead of their rivals, their champion, it sounds simple, doesn't it? It's not going to be simple at all.
It won't. It even comes as simple to say that if any of the top 3 win, that's how close they are on points, that they will automatically win the title. Of course, there are some absolutely rapid reserves, other rapid full-time drivers in here as well. So they're obstacles at the end of the day. You've got to try and beat them. You've got to try and pass them. You've just got to give it absolutely everything, but within the limits, of course, of racing we've seen this season.
So, I mean, who are we classing as a favourite here? Are we classing Kai as a favourite? He's been that championship leader for so long, but he's had his championship lead cut to 2 points for tonight's race. I don't know who to say the favourite is.
I don't know either, and it's a question I've been asked since the stewards' report came out last week. Who is going to win the title? Kai has led it for 10 races. It would break my League Racing heart to see him lose the title. It would equally make me ecstatic to see him, or indeed any of the 4, win it. But I'm not looking at form. I'm not looking at anything going into this. But there's a nervous Kai, and that means a good Kai, in my opinion.
So I missed an absolute outstanding race last week by the looks of things. Austrian Grand Prix. Cameron Dowds takes victory, his first of Tier 1. I'm sure he's absolutely over the moon with that. But as I unfortunately wasn't here, you were. How close was it?
Yeah, it was a brilliant race all throughout. It was an Enzo pole position. I think the top 6 were separated by less than a tenth in qualifying. We started on the intermediate tyres, and it went to more overcast conditions just before the halfway point of the race. Really, none of those race results made any sense, actually, if you watched the race, because, well, Kai Pearson was handed a 5-second time penalty for contact on lap 1 involving Gabor and OP Tim. That dropped him from 2nd all the way down, as you can see, to P9. Sammy Shempsey won on track. He was demoted down to P9 through 6 seconds worth of penalties. He got 3 seconds of those appealed to go back up into P6, which is what kept him in the championship fight. Also, Enzo, who finished 4th on track, was demoted to 7th. A penalty appeal put him back to 2nd. Also brought him back in the fight. We ended the stream last week saying that it was a head-to-head between Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman, where Kai would have had a 21-point lead. But all of a sudden, he's got 3 drivers all within 16.
And let's have a look at those standings. We are getting ourselves ready to go on track, but it is Kai Pearson on 112 points in Season 16. Enzo right behind him, 110, and then Liam Bowman 7 points behind Kai on 105. It's looking very grey on the qualifying side of things here. We will go to the track very, very shortly. But looking at it, I mean, no one knows from this standings. No one knows really who's on top of this. Sammy Shempsey still, and I mean what a heroic story that would be for him if he manages to turn around and wins the championship. I don't believe he's won a race this season officially either, has he?
No, he's not won in Tier 1, and really, in an ideal world, he'd need to win tonight to really have, any chance of overturning that points deficit, because how often do you ever see Kai Pearson, Enzo, Liam Bowman all finishing out of the points in the exact same race? Rarely ever indeed. But I will just say one thing before we start short qualifying. How fun was our little practice session early? We had 9 or 10 drivers, and there was just a great amount of respect. Everybody comparing lap times. It just feels so competitive, and that's why I think this is going to be unreal.
This is going to be insane. Let's get a track, though, for now and see how it is all going to pan out. And we're going to see who... Well, we've got a couple of new names on the track this week. But it's great to see the likes of Volokongan back, and both the Stefanos and also Markados as well. Just some of the ones that we've had throughout this season or previous seasons as well. But yeah, it's not a given that those top 4 drivers in this championship battle will finish in the top 4 tonight.
No, it's not. I mean, there are some unbelievable drivers around China, so to speak. F7R Moba commentated on him back in EOR last season. He put it on pole position. He is very quick around here on a pad favourable circuit, you could argue. Who else as well? Markados, he took pole position, the fastest lap around here in season 34 of PSGL. There are people that have been there and done it, taken part in championship fights themselves. They won't be any let up to the 4 contenders. They might well be scattered all throughout the field.
Definitely, and qualifying will be key, because going into turn 1 here, and that sector 1 in general, you can get caught behind a slower driver that much more than you would say in sector 3, which is basically one large straight. These drivers, they need to be very tactical about it. I'm going to start talking about the race. We do have Moba starting his qualifying lap. The likely strat is either hard medium or medium hard, but it's probably going to be hard medium, isn't it? And from there, well, that's if it doesn't rain. And what happens if it rains? I'm just completely going off a tangent now.
I mean, rain would be ridiculous. I'm not sure if there's been any immediate reaction to the weather, in which case I'll have a quick look. But there's been a few whispers about rain in the practice lobby earlier. Some drivers more happy to have rain than others. Certainly on the part of Liam Bowman on the pad, compared to the other 3 rivals on wheel. He'd love that. It'd be his best bet of winning this championship. I don't think it will happen based on the Tier 1 chat. Nobody said anything about rain, so we won't go down that road just yet. But you mentioned Sector 1. There's a little bit of a hot spot for some blockages. Yeah, drivers have got to be super aware out there today. You do not want to be picking up qualifying bans, but as it's the last race of the season, it will be converted, I think, to a 10-second penalty.
We just saw Moba have an absolute tank slapper coming out of the hairpin at turn 14 and into, well, it was more the entry into 15. But Schumacher's going to be the first driver then to set a lap time for the season finale, and it's a 1:30.6. I believe Tier 2 was in the 29.3s as Volokongan straight away beats that with a 30.3. So it is going to be absolutely imperative these guys really start putting the marker down, because they know the likes of, let's go on board with this man, Enzo, as Liam Bowman puts it at 30.1. The times are coming in thick and fast. Enzo is definitely a driver to watch out for that. But Quantum then, straight dead pretty much, a 1:30.
Yeah, absolutely. Kai Pearson dipping into the 1:29s for the first time this evening. Still to come, Stefano amongst the 2 McLarens as well. One of those next up being Sami Shemsi. He needs a big lap here to apply the early pressure. Bowman third, Kai Pearson first. Now Sami Shemsi going up into 3rd place. Saw some of their lap times earlier. It's not close to what they were doing, but a little bit of a change in the ideal track conditions as it's come over a little bit overcast. Cameron Dowds into 11th, and the Tier 1 crossplay debutant for this season, Matuka TC, who apparently challenges back in the day, PlayStation F1 back in the day. That is not a name that rings a bell to me, but he's slowest of all at the moment.
But he's not that. I'll give him the credit. He's not that far off the pace. He's not that far off the pace at the moment. As Rens Tomlinson throws himself into P6 for the time being. I believe we've got Ryan out on track. So let's see what Ryan is. He's going very, very slowly. So let's not go on board with Ryan. Moba is back out on another fresh set of soft tyres. And it seems like there's a lot of still very quite. I mean, it's not as grey as it was when I first looked at the screen. So it might be clearing up, but these times will tumble, won't they? When it comes down later into the session, into the last 2-3 minutes, we'll be seeing the times getting quicker and quicker.
Yeah, indeed. These are some high-pressure bankers going on at the moment. Drivers just want to get a lap on the board, particularly, as we've mentioned so many times, the drivers in the championship fight. But I have seen lap times as low as the 1 minute 29.5s. I think what you were saying about Tier 2, 29.3, that must have been an incredible lap. I don't know who did it, or if indeed...
I might have just been imagining it. That I definitely saw something.
I tuned in and saw 29.8, so if somebody's just gone half a second quicker at the end of the session, fair play, but I think the most we're going to get, if somebody really pulls it out of the hat, 29.6, I think, in the actual session.
Yeah, I'll get some prescription glasses or something to come soon. But Moba's going to hit traffic before he gets into the final straight, which could be problematic to his start up to the lap. I know it's, that final corner there, turn 16, is very easy to cut, but you want as much pace going through there as possible. And he may have been held up by some of the cars going into the pit lane. So we'll have to wait and see how he handles it at the moment. Yet to set a lap time, one of 4 drivers who haven't. His teammate, Joe Murphy, for the evening is yet to set a lap time as well. So the 2 Alfa Romeos need to push on. I'm looking at it. The teammates all season long, the McLaren boys, they both have a chance of winning the title. If Sammy's completely out of contention, is there a chance for him to possibly help his teammate win the title?
He's more within his rights to do so. They are the Constructors champions. They are Veloce Academy and WOR teammates. They've been fairly supportive of each other throughout the entire season. So yes, if Sammy Shemsi does see himself, out of the points earlier on, he might try and go long, try and sort of play a little bit of a blockade game if Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman are at the front of the field. But again, that's just an example, but I'm sure Sammy Shemsi, he will be at the front of the field fighting as well, and they'll be communicating a lot. Overtakes, DRS, ERS management between them. They have the advantage in terms of communication, but of course we know that Kai Pearson, Liam Bowman, both Xbox, both NVR, particularly now for the WR Legacy division as well. There'll be a similar sort of response, even though Kai and Bowman are in head-to-head competition, as are Sammy and Enzo. It's a really strange situation that we've got.
It is insane, isn't it? The prize is insane for whoever wins it as well. So Moba throwing himself into P7. There is a penalty, so it means World Online Restart is a thing again. Well, if it is a proper penalty, or then it may not be, but we'll have to wait and see. Going back through the years here at China in WR, back in season 14, the crossplay winner was Choco, Jensen in second, and third was Cyther. Cyther was in the championship battle for a little bit there, but some unusual names. Choco, great driver, but not usually up the front. Jensen, a very historic name on the PlayStation side of things. Back in season 11, I talk about a podium. This is Shadow winning, Ronha second. Thomas Manley now in PC, and Ronha, let's not even go with how far Ronha's gone. It's gone incredible for him. So some really, really, some drivers here have proven to be champions and moving on into bigger and better things.
That Ronha's fairly decent. Is there some sort of F1 esports race that he's won? I don't know. It's not happened since. But the less said about that was a massive talking point on Friday nights earlier in the season, just to run it back, as we might well do throughout the course of tonight. But yeah, Choco, remember, he was absolutely rapid pad driver at China. It sort of took a little bit of a managerial / engineering hiatus, but he's come back a little bit recently. Fair play to him. But as you've mentioned, we can look down the years, but it's never been quite as much as a championship fight as we've had tonight. As we've said, 4 drivers involved for the first time. There'll be a heritage moment, a history book moment etched into there, just as those former names have been as well.
Definitely. And, Kai Pearson definitely within a shout. He's swapping between PC and console. It's very disruptive, I suppose, is the best way to describe it. But just quickly, last thing on season 11, I think one of the things that we complained about in the game back then was the timing glitch was a thing. Now it feels like we've got far more problems with the game. But anyway, it's a high downforce track, this one, so the setups are going to be, I suppose, pretty similar for a 28 lap race.
Yeah, there's not too much variation. I don't think that you can do. I mean, drivers will try and, as always, shave off as much as that front and rear wing as they can without compromising themselves into the corners, because if this becomes one long train, then the race becomes very difficult for drivers to overtake him. We've got laps ongoing. Kai Pearson at the front of the field is still valid, and Markados has gone quickest, the PSGL pole sitter from season 34, on top in WOR so far. Kai Pearson to the line, gets within 100th by improving by 100th, and our championship leader still the best of all the main drivers at the moment.
That's insane. But Liam Bowman throws it up there. The Scotsman currently pole position. He is going to be absolutely delighted with that lap time. He's got a real chance tonight, and he is doing cracking at the moment. Let's see if Enzo is anywhere. No, Enzo's thrown himself into the pit lane. So Sammy Shemsey on a lap. He's invalidated. It's getting a little bit of squeaky bum time, I suppose you could say. There's only 6 minutes left of the session, and if you're not up there at the moment, you're going to fight through the grid, and that is not ideal.
It's not, and Liam Bowman quickest at the moment. He's not had a pole position this season. What a time if this was to pull through at the end of the session to get your first. That's why I let off a little bit of a surprised face. I know you can't see me at the moment, but I am very pleased to see that name up there and delivering in qualifying. He struggled at the start of last week's session in Austria, just a few pretty lackluster laps in terms of position, but then at the end of the session, bam, front row start, and that set him up for another pretty hectic race. I think that's about everybody done for their second laps of the session. Bowman, Markados, Kai Pearson all improving to the top 3. Quantum, another pad driver in P4. Joe Murphy also putting a great lap in P5. I know somebody's saying in the chat he'd qualify last. I think you're far from that at the moment.
Well, yeah. I suppose disrespect Joe Murphy at your peril, because he's done it in the past when he's had a couple of bad weeks in a row, and then boom, he's in there massively in the shout at the top as Moba's really struggling. 2/10 of a second down, and then he's off the track at turn 6 on what should be a flying lap for him. And I wonder if he's just thrown on another set of or a set of used tyres just to get him used to the track. But at the moment, he's making his own track right now.
Yeah, Moba's always out there, and I have no idea what he's doing. I'm very tempted to put his Twitch stream on and see what exactly the plan is, but he speaks French to his French-speaking audience, so I'm not sure I'd have any clue what he was trying to go on about. But yeah, this is just a scrub set. He's just being a little bit silly. He's like the class clown in a very serious event that is the WOR title finale. Good evening, Moba. I'm sure he's waving at us, trying to say hello, but he'll be back into the pit lane. Another word on Joe Murphy. I'm also going to hazard a guess and say that the top 5 automatically come in and qualify for next season's Tier 1 grid. Joe Murphy sits 7th at the moment. There's no Furious tonight. There's no Louis Valentin, meaning that Joe Murphy would need 8 points, so a P6 finish to guarantee himself a spot next season. That would be a fantastic achievement.
Definitely. I believe, was he Tier 2 last season as well? So it's a great achievement with that. So Joe Murphy, well played yourself, young man, and getting himself into a great position. The final throws are happening. 3 minutes left of the session. Moba's done his class clowning, and we're going to see for the last time, a qualifying session in season 16. I'm just going to see who is I'm sure it's Flopman that is the lead car out there. So Flopman's going to be the first man to set the last lap time in WR Tier 1 console season 16. Joseph, who's going to get pole? Is it going to be Liam Bowman?
The thing is, there's so much room for improvement from everybody that anyone can manage it if they just get in, close to those 0.7s, which I think is maybe where we'll end up in terms of the maximum from this session. Liam Bowman has half a tenth. Could that half a tenth be enough? I think so, and I think he probably has one of the highest ceilings of anyone out there in terms of lap time at the moment. I'm going to stick with Liam Bowman, but yeah, as I said, it could absolutely be anyone.
Let us know in the chat who you think is going to take pole tonight. Liam Bowman is on course for it at the moment. He is their provisional pole. Let's see if anyone else can get themselves into the mix. BRT James in the chat saying Joe Murphy isn't a young man, he's 37. Anyone under the age of 40 is young man in my opinion, just because that makes me feel younger in itself. But Schumacher getting a 5-place grid penalty. It looks like we're going to have the restart because of the all that. But Flopman coming through the final corner to set a lap time. Let's see how he can handle the Shanghai International Circuit. And he heads on down into turn 1, this little complex, which is a nice sweeping right-hander, which then goes into a tight left-hander for turn 3. It's quite a unique section, really.
Yeah, it is. It sort of cuts back on itself 270 degrees from the first point of turning. So it makes overtaking very fun. If you can hold it inside or outside, you've got a fighting chance. Anyway, Flopman over a tenth up through the course of the first sector. I'm going to try and watch some other deltas throughout the course of this lap. But either way, Bowman's just started at turn 1. That's another grid penalty for Schumacher. He's standing 18th, so hopefully he's not too petty about us restarting, because the viewers want... Okay, he's disqualified, so that shouldn't make any difference at all. But whatever's going on at that final hairpin, it's chaotic, and they need to hurry up.
Yeah, definitely. He's running out of time. Schumacher is going to be probably a little bit fuming with that. There's a lot of gaps being given when possibly they could have got a few more drivers through a little bit quicker. We haven't got a timing screen to see if that final Alfa Romeo is going to get in time, just about in time, down into... turn 14 goes Flopman, and he's up on his time still. Can he get himself into the top 10 for the time being? His teammates right behind him, and I suppose it'll be very quick to get onto maybe Kai Pearson. He hasn't gone quicker, Flopman. Kai Pearson rounding the final corner into the start-finish straight he goes. It's pole position, 29.6 for the time being.
There it is. There's the 0.6 they were after. Enzo's gone third. Liam Bowman, though, almost 1.5 tenths up in the middle sector. So he could threaten this Kai pole position time. Kai Pearson, sorry. Oh, my word. My words are not coming out correctly at all. The pressure's getting to everyone. Liam Bowman, pole by 100th of a second. That is almighty. On the final race of the season to take his first pole, Quantum jumps Enzo to go third and onto the second row. Marcados, we know he's capable of it, but he invalidates at the final corner. So that just leaves, well, that's all the contenders done, as Sammy Shemsy's now on row 2.
Wow, Sammy Shemsy, he was purple in Sector 2. Whether it's still the glitch or not, I'm not sure. But what a lap time from him. Joe Murphy crosses the line into 4th. He's on the second row. He's done a fantastic job there. And look how close the times are. Liam Bowman and Kai Pearson incredibly close. And then Sammy Shemsy to his teammate Enzo is incredibly close. And I think someone else has thrown himself up there as well. Oh my goodness me. If qualifying is anything to go by, Joseph, we are in for a killer of a race. It was Moba into 3rd place. What? Wow. Liam Bowman in 1st, then Kai Pearson in 2nd. I've got your gibblies going on here. Moba in 3rd, 4th to Sammy Shemsy, 5th Joe Murphy, Quantum in 6th place, 7th to Enzo. He's not going to be happy about that. 8th is Marcados, 9th to Renz Tomlinson and Shizu Tom rounding out the top 10. Then it's Stefano in the Red Bull. Tim Ryan, Volakongan, Cameron Dowds, who we've barely spoken about there, Flotman, Macho, Matuka, Keke, and Schumacher, and it will be, Schumacher will be be put back into his original position, I believe. Joseph, while we get everything, how do we go down that? That is one hell of a qualifying session to end the season on, really, isn't it?
That was ridiculous. How can you end season with a qualifying that close at a track that never really produces it from experience? You usually have one dominant driver at the front of the field. Oh no! Bowman's just put it on pole by 100th of a second when his entire championship fate really decided on that starting position. That was an unbelievable lap. They will be saying there was still a couple tenths in it, but who cares at that point? Ridiculous standard from all drivers involved, and we are in for something unbelievably special.
Yeah, this is. I've got no words really to describe how we've had such a great qualifying session there. Liam Bowman and Kai Pearson, 7 points between them. Enzo down in 7th. At the moment, as things stand, it's between those two. But you can't write off the other two drivers.
You cannot. Sammy Shempsey starting 4th. That's not bad in itself. And he can work with that. But as we said, he needs to be finishing in the top 2 tonight regardless. Again, ideally Enzo. He just needs to outscore Kai Pearson by 3 points. But then it depends on the results of Bowman as well. So, again, the McLarens need a lot in their favour. But a front row lockout of the two drivers that, after last week, we were saying it was going to be a head-to-head between them, then, could be a feisty start.
Definitely could be, as we wait for the lobby to restart, I guess, is the best way to describe it. World Online restart, as you quite rightly mentioned for all that. It's 28 laps here tonight. The pole position man will start on the left-hand side of the grid, as I've just shown the standings one last time for everyone to see. How important, I suppose, is it to be on the left-hand side as you're going into turn 1 because it's such a long right-hander bend?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It depends on the launch and who gets up the gears the quickest, because either of them could get to the inside if Bowman covers off nice and early. I don't really know who's got the better start, who's got the better strategical mindset, because the tyres will play a big factor as well. Mediums or hards, as you mentioned, the two that they are likely to start on. I don't think anybody in the championship fight will take the risk, unless possibly Enzo or Sammy that need the track position early. They could be making moves as well.
I've just looked at the standings for the race that didn't happen. Obviously, you guys can't see it. Amoba won, but he only got 6 points for it. So I don't really quite understand that. But we'll wait for, give us a few minutes for everything to come through. We've got a four-way challenge for this title. Let's look at the standings again. Go for it. Sammy Shempsey is the one that has the most work to do, obviously being down in 4th place. You've got 2 McLarens in there with a title battle. There's the man in 2nd place, Enzo, only 2 points behind championship leader Kai Pearson. Kai Pearson has led, is it the majority or all of the season? Has he led all of the season? I believe he has.
Since round 1. Yeah, because he won in Bahrain.
That in itself is a mad stat for you to then lose it. It just showed how he's back up towards the top end. He's definitely got a chance. I mean, it looks like a more consistent Kai Pearson that we've seen through some of the latter half of the season.
Yeah, he did struggle in Singapore and in Mexico. He didn't finish in the points in either of those races. That is where I made a little chart earlier. That is where the lead was cut into, because I think he had as much as 40 points on the next car after the first 5 rounds, in which he took 4 podiums. It's not been plain sailing since. We've had some different competition come in, the likes of Cameron Dowds moving to Tier 1 being a good example of that. But either way, it would feel like very much a Premier League Arsenal from last season. Spent however many days at the top of the Premier League and then didn't win the title, to, as equally a good as a team, or in this case a driver, as Enzo, Bowman or Sammy, one of those three. But yeah, it's just been back and forth the entire season in terms of how I describe it, a pendulum swinging in terms of form.
Definitely, and let's not talk about Arsenal. I'd rather not. But that's football orientated. There's nothing wrong with them much. Just over celebration. Anyway, stick around at the end of the show. Obviously, if we have a champion, we will have a champion crown tonight. But as long as there's no serious stewards inquiries in some point, but we will be showcasing. I say showcasing. We'll be showing what is happening in season 17 as well after the podium interviews. So stick around and watch out about what's going to happen there. Anyway, I mean, who's going to win this championship? Is I know it's so hard to say. Chat, let us know. But Joseph, I mean, you've had all week to think about this one.
I've had all week with questions from Bowman, from Kai, from people just widely associated with WOR. Everything has led to this point where I still don't want to sound biased or anything, because honestly, they all deserve it, and they're all great people. They've shown a great amount of respect throughout the course of the season. As I said at the start, I know not many people watch at the start, but I said I'd be gutted to see Kai lose it. I'd be ecstatic to see him win it, because I know he's after the rig that he doesn't have. He sits in a gaming chair and behind a Thrustmaster, which is, relatively speaking, not the best possible setup that he can be. So I know that Kai wants to be able to go and push on to the best of his ability on PC. But equally, there's a great irony with somebody like Bowman winning it, because he's the pad's pretender in all of this.
Yeah, and just imagine Liam Bowman winning it on the pad. It'd be insane for all that. But we still, looking at the poll, we've had 40 votes. 40% to Kai Pearson, 35% to Liam Bowman, who is third in the championship, 17% to Enzo, and 8% to Sammy. There's still a lot of love for Sammy out there, which is 8% when you're that, I don't want to say that far behind, when you're that far behind in a championship battle on the final race, is still quite a lot of votes.
We've seen crazier things, I'll just say that, or maybe it's his old 5-lapper following from his old YouTube days coming back to support him. Either way, it just shows that nobody is sure, and that's okay, because the race decides itself. 28 laps of whatever.
Dare I say it? Dare I say something along the lines of Abu Dhabi 2021?
No. No.
Anyway, let's move swiftly on. Thank you for everyone that's in the chat and then chatting away and supporting WOR throughout, but also throughout console tier 1 as well. I believe now console tier 2 is finished, and I don't want to say, but I think it's 2D that is the champion, but I'm not 100% sure.
Is he?
But so that one's done and dusted. They had their own one. They had their own title fight tonight, but not as epic as this one. This is going to be great. Go down to the wire. I even on lap 24, and Kai Pearson being or Liam Bowman 27 seconds ahead, I still wouldn't say it's done and dusted. You look back at Singapore with George Russell last lap. He clipped the wall out of the race. That is the sort of stuff I don't know what I want to weigh. I don't want to jinx it or anything, but I feel like that could happen tonight.
Yeah, I've seen races decided from mistakes at the chicane before you work your way around that complex and onto the straight. It's very much a case of if you're not there on the final lap, then you might as well lose the race because yeah, that 1.2 kilometer long straight is everything around here in China. Um, yeah, but there's not going to be as many penalties as there were in Austria, that's for sure, and there won't be as many street circuit crashes that we've seen in places such as Monaco. The diversity of this season has just been perfect, and China a nice balance, I think.
Did do we feel that anyone's going to risk starting on a set of softs? It's going to be so difficult. But do you think someone maybe Enzo in seventh place, get the positions up, go on to a set of hards earlier than anyone, and then just try and defend for their life?
I can see it. I do I recommend it? Will it? This is why I'm not an engineer and why I fail miserably every time I do so. But it's all or nothing for someone such as Sammy. Top two finish has to be done, really, doesn't it? Go for it.
Definitely, and I suppose if he feels, going back onto the conversation we had earlier, if he feels at that point, you know what, it's not going to be possible for me to hold on, let's help Enzo out. He can do that as well. I can't imagine they'd split the rig. It would be pretty impossible to do that, but I know there would be a lot of appreciation from Enzo's side if that was the case. We're just waiting on one driver to get in. And that's unfortunately Joe Murphy. He's having a bit of issues trying to get into the lobby, which is not great. It's China's not on the calendar very often, but and I suppose you're quite right in saying it doesn't always bring up the best of races. But what I found in Tier 1 this season is we've always had something, I suppose, epic in a way to talk about, and so far this is living up to the season.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember back to Bahrain when the McLarens went head-to-head up against MOBA. It's sort of coming back that way. They'll have to do the same again today. There's been a nice pattern about the good races that we've had this season, and it's all involved our main quadrant of drivers. So if anybody's going to produce a good race today in terms of entertainment, it is one of those four.
Definitely. We haven't seen the best, though, in qualifying of Volokongan or Flotman. They're both drivers, unfortunately, in the lower half of the grid today. But we've seen them race really well this season in the races that they've come. Do you feel that maybe that they can put the bad qualifying behind them and get themselves into it?
Volokongan's had some brilliant races. He's been in the top 5 in the 3 appearances that he's managed. Flotman as well, taking 2 podiums in his last 5 races. So they've both got some really decent race stats. And as I said earlier in the stream, they will be obstacles, but they will also be genuine threats to race win, to the podium, to all of the point scoring positions that the drivers will be assessing where they need to finish throughout the race. So yeah, never rule those guys out.
It is almost time for the finale here in WOR Console Tier 1. It has been a pretty long wait, but we're in the final countdown. I suppose you could start playing Europe's final countdown just to get you in the mood. If you know that song, then let's hope about it. But if not, then it just shows my age, I guess. But Joseph, regardless of the title fight on, we obviously want a good race. We've had a couple of incidents this season when the racing hasn't been as up to scratch as we would have liked, but so far this whole day hasn't felt like it would be like that, has it?
No, it hasn't. I mean, this has been building up throughout the entire afternoon, now into the evening as well. We're almost there, and Championship fight aside, I just want to say this has been a fantastic season, an absolute pleasure to cover as always, and that I wish everybody the absolute best of luck. And hope that everybody comes out the other side happy, because that's what this should all be about.
Definitely. We're just waiting for them to pick their the strategies, got themselves sorted out. Yeah, definitely. Good luck to everyone in Console Tier 1 tonight. For you and I, we've got the best seats in the house to see how it's all going to pop down. Chat, I hope you enjoy it as well. Let us know your thoughts through the race of who's gonna win, who's gonna do what. It's all up for grabs. Kai Pearson only has 2-point lead in this championship. Let's have a quick last look at the standings here in WR Console Tier 1. Look at that. There is not much in it between the top three, and Sami Shemsi is in with the outside chance as well. It is going to be insane. There is other things to talk about as well, whether Joe Murphy can get himself into the top 5. Cameron Dowds, how can he do? He's in the bottom 5 after winning bottom 10, winning last week. He's now in a different sort of scenario. There's still lots of questions here, Joseph, isn't there? It's not just about these top 4 drivers.
No, it's not. I mean, everybody wants the last piece of the jigsaw in terms of this season. They all want to prove themselves for spots next season as well, because race performances do get taken into consideration alongside the time trials. And I think it's fair that we can announce at the end of the race when you can get involved with those time trials. I know that's what some people are here for, to hear about next season. News of that will be at the end. Definitely at the end of the like I said before, stick around. All the information for season 17, not all the information, a vast majority of the information will be displayed on the end of the stream after the podium interviews. I'm so eager for this one to start, Joseph. I'm not sure when, how. I don't know how it's going to pan out. I'm certain it's going to be a great race. I know if my nerves are jangling, I can only imagine what the guys racing tonight, how they will be feeling. Oh, and that we are going to go on track straight away. I wish they would give us a better launch, but here we go. And it seems like a pretty decent start from Liam Bowman, but he's being caught initially by Kai Pearson. But Moba is the one really to watch out for, I believe. Majority of drivers on hard compounded tyres. Sami Shemsi is really attacking Moba as they come on through down turn number 3 and 4, and through they go. Sami Shemsi is all over the back of him, but Kai Pearson, I think, has made a mistake. He's under pressure from Moba as they head down into turn 6. Moba's gone to the outside, and I think that's going to be causing him problematic because he's... Oh, goodness me, that's so close. Yeah, it is, and Moba tried to go the long way round at turn 6 through 7 now. It's almost a flat-out corner. Maybe not on lap 1, but either way, the dirty air just giving Moba a little bit of a wash on the front end. Further back, Tim and Tom, side by side, they're still going at it into turns 9 and 10 for the penultimate points-paying position. No, it's the final points-paying position. It's for P10. Shazoo Tom is ahead. Reds to Master on the softs, makes a late lunge, and he hits Quantum there, I think, as well as Markados. It was a double overtake. It was very late indeed, and the soft runners looking to make an early impact, with both of them colliding there momentarily. Joe Murphy sneaks through and up into P5. Markados goes through on Reds to Masson. Markados now slipstreaming Joe Murphy. They need to get in front here to try and make a statement in this race away from the championship battle. Down the inside goes Markados. He's into 5th. There he goes. He's through and up they go, and unfortunate, I think, if we look at positional changes, Enzo down 2 places. That's not what he would have wanted at all. Cameron Dowd's up 4, though. Definitely one to continue watching out for. Kai Pearson seems to have settled down a little bit in his pursuit of Liam Bowman on lap 2. I know we're only 2 laps in, but it feels like far, far more in it. Moba seems like he's got a better car for that first sector because he catches Kai Pearson at a rate of knots through sector 1. Into turn 6 they go, and Kai, again, he goes to the outside of Kai Pearson, but he just can't find a way through at the moment. Yeah, Moba is not going to be slacking in terms of the way he treats the championship rivals. He's got 3 in his immediate vicinity, 2 in front, 1 behind. Enzo's dropped a couple of places off the start. He did start on the hards. We questioned if he might have gone for the softs, but I think it was just too big of a risk to take in a race which could still have so many, unknowns in terms of how this could play out battle-wise. Here comes Moba though, great exit off the banking at turn 13, and he's right in the slipstream of Kai Pearson. An interesting thing here is, Moba hasn't used too much ERS, he tends to in the early laps of the races. He's got genuine race pace here in China. He goes down the inside at the hairpin to knock Kai Pearson down to third. Liam Bowman happy, potentially, that there's a car between him and the man he's trying to beat.
Definitely, but if Moba's got this pace around him, it kind of changes the whole dynamic of... As Markados sets the fastest lap of the race, it changes the whole dynamic of the point scoring. Because if Moba wins this race, Liam Bowman then needs a car between him and... Oh, what's happened? What is missed? Is that Renz going down the order? Did you catch that?
Yeah, I did. It was a horrendous mistake at the first corner. Took too much inside curb. He drifted, and it was completely unsavable by that point. That is very clumsy from a driver that had to be making moves on the soft tyres. He's now down the order, but that's one less threat, crucially, to the front runners.
Definitely. Let's see how Kai Pearson responds to Moba then. Overtaking him and seeing, and let's have a look. I don't usually like using the telemetry. I feel like it takes up too much of the screen with everything else as well. But 65 for Kai Pearson, 95 for Liam Bowman.
Yeah, it's brilliant management. It's something that he is so good at amongst all of his other natural talents on the pads. There is a lot of mental work to be done when racing for long periods of time, multiple times a week on a controller. It's easy to forget what you're doing, but Bowman just knows the job he has at hand. Don't use that battery. Be prepared at any point to use it later in the race. Here comes Enzo, by the way, down the inside of Quantum, and he almost got the move done. Quantum holds on around the outside, then into turn 16. They've both gained a position from that Renz to Massa move, so it is Enzo here on the attack, using some of his battery. He's got to try and force it down the inside. Quantum tried to defend, as Enzo does slide up the inside. The French driver looking to gain this position. He needs to win this race, ideally, to guarantee the championship, but Quantum still holds it up the inside at turn 3. It's a brilliant battle, and he's taken Enzo with him there, Quantum. There's big contact. Enzo finds it hard to keep it on the circuit with grass and gravel on his tyres, but that is the first warning sign of robust defence.
Yeah, definitely, and could very well go to the stewards of that, which is not ideal. And looking back at it, it just feels like Quantum just wanted more of the track than a McLaren was, but the McLaren was there. But anyway, let's go back to the leaders as Kai Pearson, Enzo, like losing a position to Shizou Tom for the time being. So back to where he started after the initial launch of this race. And he's not going to be too happy with that one. He's going to be very, very frustrated. Kai Pearson, though, trying to find a way past Moba as they head down the back straight. Is he going to dart up to the inside? He does. Kai Pearson decides that now is the time to strike. He's going to be side by side as they head on down to turn 16. He doesn't get the move stuck, and that could be crucial more for Liam Bowman.
It could. He's pulled up an 8/10 gap at the moment. Kai Pearson went up the inside. Fair play to Moba. Saw it coming, but knew that if he just set himself up for the exit, there was a good chance he was going to hold on to the position. It's Markados down the inside and out of absolutely nowhere to take P3 on the racetrack. This was what Kai was worried about. We've got Renz to Masson after the early spin, retiring in the pit lane. He's given up on that strategy that went wrong after he spun at the first corner. Kai Pearson holds on. And again, some more defending needed to be done while he's simultaneously trying to get back at Moba.
Yeah, this is a very, very tough position for our current championship leader. But as things stand, he will not be the champion at the end of the race, with Liam Bowman currently leading the way. Moba 0.6 of a second behind. Kai Pearson half a second further. He still can see Liam Bowman, which is going to be definitely what he wants to see. He's going to want to see that AlphaTauri for as long as possible.
He does. That is the man he's got to stick with. Otherwise, he could lose complete control of his entire race. We saw it in Austria, where he lost touch with the train during the crossover, and then all of a sudden he was just never able to quite recover. And I was speaking to him earlier, and based on his general attitude about China, it feels like he just has to stay in this train at all costs and just hope that he has the pace to try and do something at least to stop Liam Bowman. Either way, we're starting lap 6 of 28. They're coming by quickly. There's still no way we can determine how this race might finish. We've got pit stops to come. We've got overtaking to come. This is the boring part of China. It's not even got good yet.
Definitely. And though we say that, Markados could be the problem for Sami Shemsi. The tyres maybe being a little bit past their best, as he's now 0.7 of a second behind Kai Pearson. Kai Pearson holding off the lap before possibly has been absolutely crucial in him being in with a shout for this Grand Prix still.
Yeah, there's been a few times this season where Sami Shemsi has been in the front pack, and don't get me wrong, he has done everything correct this season, but he's just never been able to get over the line and win a race. Best chance last week, but the penalties made it slip away from him, appeals or not. There was another race in Saudi Arabia, I think last season, where, again, just a few small mistakes cost him, including some wheel-to-wheel racecraft. And he'll have to get past Markados soon, and he might well consider this his opportunity. He's used some battery, but the straight line speed absolutely mega for Sami Shemsi. He's got about 5 miles an hour on Markados before they even opened up the DRS. He backs out, and while all that is going on, Kai Pearson's up the inside of Moba and reclaims P2. He's still confident.
Yeah, there's two things going on at once, and Markados, I wonder when he will pit. He's got to make it, I think, to at least lap 9 to make this strategy work, to go onto a set of hards. It's going to be interesting to see how that all pans down. Kai Pearson, though, great overspeed continuing, and he's straight onto the back of Liam Bowman. That, maybe a second wind here for Kai Pearson.
Yeah, and Bowman, though, still with an almost fully charged battery. It's going to be very hard once you overtake him, in the case of Kai Pearson, to keep him behind, because Bowman has so much in reserve still, and we saw that in qualifying where he pulled it out of the hat to take pole by 100th of a second. There was never going to be any stopping him. Placed into tier 2 at the start of the game cycle. Completely the wrong call, as we learn to find out. He's got the most race wins of anybody this season, the most experienced at the front of the field to hold on and take the win despite the adversity he faces from Kai Pearson. Lap 7 of 28, Markados starting to slip further behind now. As we mentioned, Joe Murphy needing that top 6 for a top 5 in the championship, overtaking Louis Valentin, who we've not seen for 3 weeks. He was competitive at the start of the season. Just makes me wonder if we could have had a 5-way battle for the title instead. Thank you to the 100 of you watching. Joe Murphy's on his way in trying to overtake Markados, but nobody else in front of him thinking the same.
No, it's that train that is keeping everyone involved at the moment. And you know what? I know Markados is on those set of soft tyres, and they're weak tyres at the moment. As look at Sami Shemsi, pulls to the right, to the inside. I wonder if he was worried about an attack from Markados there, as Markados maybe getting a second wind on those tyres a little bit. But if Markados stays in this train, he might be able to push those tyres a little bit further, so his hards are nicer at the end of the Grand Prix when everyone else's mediums may be a little bit worn. I'm just trying to think what could be his mindset there, as I think Joe Murphy has got himself past, and Quantum now going to attack maybe Markados in the near future.
Yeah, his reserve teammate will try and treat him with a little bit of respect. I'm still not sure on that Enzo incident, but it's not over for him. Still managed to recover with some good car control and stays in the train at the moment. The top 12 all in this train. That is just the length of it we're talking. And that will, again, all get dissipated throughout the pit stop phases, which could come at about half distance in this race. Maybe 1 or 2 drivers going a lap earlier to try and consolidate some track position. But we just know how valuable the fresh tyres are around here. Kai Pearson, again, pulling out the slipstream. This is some engine management as well. The engine temperature can go sky high, and you not want to be leaving yourself down on power towards the end of the race.
Definitely not. So smart from these guys out there as well. I think Quantum nearly is he going for a move on his teammate? Not just yet, I don't think. And just quickly onto the, and I know we're not stewards, but if that was a wall instead of grass there, would we be having a different conversation now, I think? Oh, I different thoughts. Oh my goodness, Marcos so wide out of turn 1 and 2 that his teammate tries to take it up the inside of 2, but it's just not there just yet. And he's surely going to have him as he comes on into turn 6.
Yeah, there was a wall there, though. You wouldn't think that Quantum would have tried to squeeze Enzo that far wide, or indeed Enzo aim for a closing gap. That's basically the basic idea of that incident, without attributing blame to either of them. But Marcos, big mistake, just let his teammate through, and he now knows that this soft tyre strategy is failing for him as well. As soon as they hit 25%, they'll be a long way past that at this stage, whereas the hard runners still in their infancy, you could say. Yeah, he's starting to struggle.
I'm just saying, if Enzo could do anything up the inside there into turn 11, but I think at this moment in time it's not ideal at all for Enzo. He's got a lot of work to do, and surely this time around he does. He goes up the inside, the DRS is open. Marcos' point of view is pretty poor considering, as well as Enzo's, as we're heading down into it, and surely that is Enzo. Oh, the back end really did snap out there for Enzo.
Yeah, it did. He tried hard to get late on the brakes, and in doing that, playing with his brake bias, trying to get the car slowed down, just that back end stepped out. That's a natural part of the game. I do think there's nothing too wrong with that. Oh my word, it's going to be 3 wide almost, with Cameron Dowds going up the inside. It was only 2 abreast there as they were both trying to chase down Enzo, and then Marcos does the switchback on the Scottish driver, the up and under at turn 1 and 2, a classic in China. And now Marcos has got to hold the outside, but with his waning rear tyre grip, can he find the traction? There's going to be another squeezing moment to the inside of the kink of turn 5. Marcos goes down the inside once again into turn 6, which Cameron Dowds has got to do something about. He's getting squeezed to the outside curve, which you do not want to beat your floor on, but then he gets the traction, the run with some ERS usage to go down the inside into turn 7.
There we go. Cameron Dowds finally makes the move stick. NLR Tim is right behind as well. And saying that, you're beaching your car on. I have seen someone disqualified for being beached on the curb at turn 6. So it is possible to be absolutely ruined at this track, but at the moment it's all good. Enzo flying, trying to fly, I suppose, is the best way. He needs really to get a move on. Moba starting to lose ground as well, and I think in the background that is Tim getting past Marcos as they head on down, but Marcos is going to have the DRS open as they head down, and it is move complete and done and dusted, and we've missed Sami Shemsi getting past Moba. Moba is starting to struggle.
Yeah, Moba towards the back end of stints. He can get into this tendency. Maybe it's a driving style thing, because he has a unique one, even compared to other pad players, that just starts losing some pace a little bit more quickly than other drivers. But that only means he'll go a lap or 2 earlier on the undercut. I've seen him do it before in China. I've seen it become very successful. Actually, I've seen him go later, I should say, and try to just get past the worst phase of that tyre and then pick off cars at the end. So, yeah, there's a few ways I've seen Moba do it, so I wouldn't worry about this situation too much at the moment. Schumacher sets the fastest lap. He's down in 19th. There's no points available for that. If so, we would have had a very different looking championship with the old purple race.
Definitely. At the moment, it's very tight, and maybe it could have been even tighter with the extra points on offer. Just looking at the poll quickly, Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman bang on 38%, both of them, for winning this race. The viewers have spoken, and they can't decide either.
Can anybody decide? This is still going to be a ding-dong battle between Liam Bowman, Kai Pearson and Sami Shemsi for the most part. First, third and fourth occupy the top 3 in the championship. First, of course, being Kai Pearson. Third being Liam Bowman. Sami Shemsi fourth, just to give you an overview of what we're looking at the moment. Kai Pearson's fully charged his battery. Sammy Shemsi's on his way there as well. They're all just waiting for the pit stops. Kai Pearson has no rush, no intention to make the move for the race lead because he knows if he leaves it long, responds to what Liam Bowman is doing, whether that be boxing opposite to him, he could get out the other side, be clear of that DRS, and just be racing for himself.
Definitely, and it's that chess game. We speak about it quite often. A chess boxing game, I think we've called it in the past. But Kai Pearson holding station as well. And it's great to see. We usually see 2 McLarens up at the top, in the top 5. This time, we have 2 Alfa Romeos. It's great to see a different team up there doing something. Shame it's a little bit late in the season to make any real headway for it. But Mobo and Joe Murphy, fantastic job so far for the guys.
Matthew Hall, former Tier 1 regular at the front of the field as well, saying that it's Moba's throttle inputs, which is what I was alluding to in terms of his driving style. It's not obvious on the spectator mode, but yeah, he sort of just pumps it out of the corner, and apparently that kills the front tyres. So maybe that's why he's struggling, and on a circuit where you need those front tyres to comply in the long corners of turns 1 and 2 and then turns 12 and 13 as well, there's no surprise that maybe he's having to sacrifice a little bit of pace for that as he moves right on Sammy Shemsi. Kai Pearson again moving out of the slipstream of Liam Bowman, and it's the same story that it has been for the last few laps. Does anybody come into the pit lane? No, still a little bit too early on what is the end of lap 12.
Yep. Lap 13 and up the inside, Kai Pearson again doing what we've seen numerous times, cooling the engine off. And you know what? He's just... Maybe it's... obviously it's to cool the engine off as well, but maybe it's just reminding Liam Bowman he's there as well. That red arrow that comes onto the screen. Just letting people know that... letting his championship rival know that don't forget about me. I've still got a chance in this race. Sammy Shemsi also has a chance in this race in 3rd place. A great race for him. It's all really close, and it's that midpoint of the race. Pit stops happening imminently, I guess, as Markados finally pits. So we're probably going to see drivers pit lap 15, I believe, and Markados might have a massive undercut on this.
Yeah, he might do. This could get him back into that mid-pack where he was fighting earlier, though I've just flicked onto him and he's drifting around turn 6, which certainly wasn't the quickest way to do that corner on the cold tyres. Either way, do we see any of our front runners in on this lap? I don't know for sure. I don't want to make an assumption, but this could be an ideal time to make your move. Kai Pearson coming off the throttle because he knows that Sammy Shemsi, no immediate threat. Liam Bowman, he doesn't need to overtake. So as they round the hairpin then, for the 13th time, it goes straight on into the pit lane here. You've got to be careful not to take another car out. Nobody really goes in. There's a slide for Moba coming out of the final corner. Are the rear tyres starting to struggle too? As Joe Murphy was side by side with him.
Championship protagonist, I guess, or challenger in Enzo has pitted. He's kicked off early. Murphy surely giving a little bit of a push there to Moba as he gets past. It's nearly a second to Sammy Shemsi. He needs to make sure he doesn't lose that DRS advantage that he'll get to help defend from Moba. But we have had our first front runner, and this is going to be really interesting to see what Enzo can do and whether this triggers Liam Bowman, Kai Pearson and Sammy Shemsi.
It could do, because that could, I don't know, based on the delta where he'd come out in all of this, but it could certainly be in and around where Murphy and Moba are starting to just fall back a little bit in comparison to our top 3. That's where he's aiming for, to come out in that gap when he's made the undercut and everyone else has picked, in order to make a firmer challenge on the top 3. I think we could see some responses on this lap, about the 50-50 split you'd expect in a race like this, where they're going from hards to mediums. And for the first time, Kai Pearson has the race lead. He overtakes Liam Bowman. Is this an indication that he wants to come into the pit lane and do so by taking the lead on track?
He has used a fair bit of ERS and he goes flying into the pits, as does Sammy Shemsi. Liam Bowman staying out for another lap. I suppose this is perfect time to go on board with the man that has triggered all this, and that is Enzo, who has got Schumacher for company. Is Enzo's move going to be a hero, or is it going to be zero, I guess is the best way to describe it, as he turns through the last corner. There you can see on the mini-map that Kai Pearson is coming to the end of the pit lane. Where is that McLaren? There is his teammate, but he's going to be behind Kai Pearson, but crucially on a bit more, the tyres that have up to race temperature.
That was so close with his teammate. In fact, he had to see Enzo coming at around 200 miles an hour down the start-finish straight. Fair play to Enzo. It was an undercut he had to make, and he's within touching distance of the net race leader, having been P8. So, Enzo, all of a sudden back in this fight. That one lap older tyres set, though, does make a difference. It might not look like it, but slowly and surely you'll start to see the effects as he will be noticing that throughout the corners. But for the meantime, he's got to look after them, stay with Kai Pearson, maybe even go for the move on this lap to have the net race lead himself, which is probably the best bet on a compound like that, one lap older, to see and react to any further developments.
We saw how big that undercut was. Liam Bowman could be in trouble. He could be towards the back of this train. He doesn't need that. Enzo pulls to the outside. DRS does open. Does he attack? Let's see. Going down into turn 14. Does he go for the race lead? He lifts off. Back behind. Liam Bowman, 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Is that his championship done?
Oh my word. That is awful. That is genuinely awful for Liam Bowman. How do you come back from that? I don't think you can. Oh, it's China. It's a pit lane which you get on the throttle after you've broke. It can leave you leaving it very late to get on the brakes. But that could just seal the deal in terms of him being out of this one. He'll need a miracle. He'll need a safety car to be able to serve it and then make some moves. But by that point, it's just too late.
Heartbreaking for Liam Bowman, but never say never. The fat lady hasn't sung, and I think that you can still say that. You can use that saying, the fat lady hasn't... Yeah, anyway, we'll move on from my terrible analogies. BRT Joe Murphy, then, can he get anything past Liam Bowman? Liam Bowman's holding quite firm at the moment, and he's getting those tyres warmed up nicely. As Jacob Bauer said, that's Jova. I haven't heard that one in a while. Kai Pearson then, leading, I suppose, a net leader. Wow. How do we go from this now, Joe? Is it going to be... Is this now Kai's, or can Enzo do something special?
Well, he's got to. He's about the only man that is so close to him. He's 2 points away. He's 2/10 away in the race. He's got to do everything now, Enzo. It will be up against him. He has got the lap older tyres, as we've said. He's got less ERS to use as well, and he will have to use that battery in order to get past Kai Pearson. Tim comes into the pit lane. Sami Shemsi is the quickest car on the track, quickly followed by Quantum. There are some quicker cars behind this. Kai Pearson is going to be slowing them down to an extent. Oh, Enzo's let Sami through.
I wonder now if this is a McLaren game, if this is going to be Sami and Enzo work to attack Kai Pearson. But they've got to worry about Liam Bowman in all this as well, to a degree, as Liam Bowman tries to have a go up the inside of Enzo. Enzo doesn't fight that either. He knows he's got that 5-second penalty hanging over his head. It's not over yet. It's definitely not over. Enzo is possibly using everyone else to his advantage. I know it seems silly letting two drivers overtake him, but if he just conserves, it could work.
Waits for the battling potentially, because Sami's got to go for it. He, needs massive points more than Enzo does, where he could just rely on outscoring Kai Pearson at this point by 3 points he needs to win the title if something goes badly wrong for him. So let's see. But meanwhile, Liam Bowman, despite the adversity faced with the 5-second penalty, he's up into a net second and he's closing down Kai Pearson as well. He'll have to make the move soon. He'll have to get a move on. But back up the inside goes Sami Shemsi. Too late on the brakes. Simple switchback. That's a massive crash. It's a safety car. It's perfect for Liam Bowman. He's coming in to serve.
What does he go on? Does he go on to a set of softs? I mean, it helps Volakonga and Macho pretty well as well. Or does he go on to a fresh set of mediums? But how fuck? Kai Pearson's the only one that hasn't pit out of these front runners. Sammy and Enzo in. What happened with the crash?
I don't know what happened with the crash, but by the looks of it, high speed, down the back straight, wheels interlocking. You know the story as soon as that happens. Liam Bowman, I'm watching him in his pit stop. Medium tyres are going on, softs for others, but he's had a 5-second wait from that penalty. But I think it will be less painful than what he might have had to deal with at the end of the race. Possibly winning, possibly having 5 seconds taken away from him. Now he's got a genuine chance, but he has to make the moves.
I tell you what, part of me wishes I'd put the cameras on and put our screens on, because that would have been... I know my face was...
I need to get the comms cam. I need to get it on.
Wow. Kai Pearson still leading this Grand Prix. He's going to be fuming that there's a safety car. Cameron Dowds and Ryan. Wow. What have we... I mean, but has Luke paid those two to make it even more interesting to the end of this race? Who knows? Sorry, Luke, throwing you under the bus there. But yeah, 9 laps. Softs will be immediately working, but they're going to be dead at the end of the race.
We've seen early on, Rens Thomason got himself in a pickle, literally spinning at the first corner. And Marcados as well, his pace started to drop after 6 or 7 laps, I'd start to say, when it was noticeable. There's going to be more than that till the end of the race. It might be a perfect balance between mediums and softs. That's why so many were unsure why you've seen this massive split down the middle. Kai Pearson, oh my word, he didn't come in. Was that because he wasn't sure? Again, being the net race leader, if you do the opposite to what everybody else is planning, you are absolutely stuffed. If everybody else comes in behind you, we've got a case of that.
I feel like I've jinxed it by saying about Abu Dhabi 2021 earlier on. Kai Pearson was in a world of pain. He was damned if he did, he damned if he didn't. You know what though? Volakonga at the back of the grid. Ooh! All of a sudden, imagine that. What a way to sign off your season 16 by taking victory in China in WR Tier 1. It's a possibility for him. He's on the best tyres possible. If you were Kai Pearson, Joseph, how would you do this safety car restart? Because he was pulling away from the battle behind, which was Liam Bowman and Sammy Shemsey, because they were battling. If you were Kai, do you go late or do you go early?
You just go. You just go whenever. And you've just got to pull away. You've just got to hope that the damage isn't done early and that you could have another lifeline in the race from battles behind. Because other than that, the tyre differential, everybody behind is going to be quicker. There's no doubt about that. And as soon as they get hold of DRS as well, yeah, it is looking pretty tough for Kai Pearson. I mean, he'll try and leave it late. He'll try and catch people out through the final corner so he gives himself as big enough as a gap as possible, I want to say. But if he leaves it too late, I'm talking up until the start-finish line, they'll be right on him. Immediate slipstream. I think he's just got to go immediately, Kai Pearson, when he gets the chance.
So, Sammy Shemsey's chance is nearly within grasp. The one person standing in his way is Kai Pearson. Obviously, he's got to make the overtakes on Volakonga, Macho and Tim, but you know, Kai Pearson's there. If he can get through the other two championship rivals, Liam Bowman and Enzo, towards the lower end of the points, which is going to make our heads hurt because we're not sure on the maths of it all. However, I suppose while Kai hasn't pitted, he's lucky because Enzo and Liam are right next to each other and they are definitely going to be battling.
Yeah, and as we know, in this situation, they both need wins. They both need something to happen to Kai Pearson and everyone behind. Is Sammy Shemsey in the best position? Who knows? As we know, he needs to finish in the top 2. Has he got a good chance of doing that? I still think he does, and he's been fairly aggressive, as we've seen as soon as the safety car came out, trying to retake the position on Liam Bowman. But Bowman and Enzo, well, they know better than to be fighting each other so soon. I mean, it's either they win the championship, one of them, or neither of them do. So, you know, they're both in the same boat in that game. Hello to everybody, by the way, tuning in from E-Series, tuning in from Tier 2. You're in the best place now, and I think it's fair to say, Gareth, that this is a season-topping viewership record.
This is amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you are new to the channel, though, smash that like button so you can catch all the WOR action throughout. And I tell you what, if you aren't already, you are going to be full-on excited with this one. You know what? Who needs F1 esports when you got action like this on a Friday night? I suppose you kind of want the bigger name, but these guys are big names in itself. Safety car in this lap. Okay, Joseph, who's going to win?
Who's going to win? Volakongan's going to win. Come on, Shizu Volakongan. Oh, it's not the Legacy Division. Never mind. So still happily back him. I've just inquired with the watch party, so to speak, which I'd rather be in than sweating commentating. But I'm told the mediums should be the better tyre after around 5 laps. So not all hope is lost for our top 2. NLR Tim, an expert in safety car restarts as well, having watched him last night take on 2, albeit both in the lead. He could be straight up and past Kai Pearson if things aren't careful. Kai trembling. He was talking about nerves in qualifying, a shaking leg. And, well, when you've got a loud pedal of 1,000 horsepower underneath said right leg, I cannot imagine the tension, the nervousness he's feeling at the moment.
Look at this. F1 cars meant to be hitting this turn 14 at about 200 miles an hour at the moment. I think they're doing 50. Kai Pearson has to do this perfectly. And he's had to wait, and I think he's gone. He's gone as early as possible. Safety car is in the pit lane, but it's not left Tim napping. Volakongan maybe a little bit napping, but Tim is straight on Kai Pearson. And this is really, really interesting. Look at the background. I think there was a Haas going really, really wide out of the exit. But Kai Pearson has the lead of the Grand Prix for the moment.
He does have the lead. That's the first part done in terms of Kai and his need to hold on to the race lead. Oh, this contact between Quantum and Liam Bowman of all people. I would not have seen that coming between 2 very good friends, both on the pad, of course. They cannot make it obvious that they are working together for different teams as Macho goes up the inside of Sammy Shemsy. He's going to have the inside into turn 7 as Sammy Shemsy is the one on the attack, trying to get his position that he needs as he understeers, hits the curb into the side of Macho. Almost game over.
Joe Murphy lagging behind there. There was just a hint of lag, which I thought Joe Murphy was going into the wall, but it wasn't. I suppose it's really time to go back on board with NLR Tim. Oh, God, NLR Tim, as he's very close to the back end of Kai Pearson. Kai Pearson's definitely going to have to. I've used this more than I've ever used it. It's the telemetry button. He's using the telemetry. Pulls to the inside. Doesn't give slipstream. He's given slipstream to Volakongan of all people, who's going to fly past. This could work perfectly if he can let Volakongan pass and then use his DRS, maybe?
Big move for Bowman. I'll just add that on there down the inside of Quantum. He finally got it done as Quantum maybe just lost a bit of momentum following the crash. Sammy Shemsy ahead, and here comes Volakongan now as well. I backed him for the race win. This could potentially be the race lead for him. Kai is as tight to the inside as you can possibly be, and I imagine him doing that at many other corners throughout the course of the last 8 laps.
Macho and Joe Murphy in the background having a good old ding-dong as well, but got to see this from Shizu Volakongan. Can he get into the lead of this Grand Prix? We saw, I believe it was Miami, he had a great race there, and at the moment he's all over the back of Kai Pearson. Kai Pearson needs to... DRS has enabled this lap. He's going to be in immense amount of pressure if he's going to be that lead car on those medium compound tyres going down that back straight.
Just seen another incident. I think Enzo and Quantum have just come together coming into turn 6. I saw Quantum with gravel on his tyres, and the car overtaking him was Enzo. So that could be a second incident between the two of them. unbelievably throughout the course of this race. Earlier on, I know a lot of you have just tuned in, they did make contact. Enzo was almost out of the race, but did well to keep his car on the track on the exit of turn 3. Anyway, Volokongan back in the slipstream. Some people in the live chat saying as well, will Sammy Shempsey over push? Quite possibly, if he took a lot out in that battle with Macho. And speaking of Macho, Bowman's through, and Markados has overtaken Enzo. It's looking unlikely now for Enzo to score big in this final race of the season.
Unfortunate for Enzo. Schumacher and Moba swapping out. DRS has opened this lap. I was wrong in my estimation. I'm not sure. I swear I saw that sign before. But for those of you that haven't watched, it has been an insane qualifying here, and the race has lived up to it. We've had a later safety car, and action is all over the place. Kai Pearson leading the Grand Prix currently is going to be classed as champion if they stay the way they are. But Volokongan, Tim, Sammy Shemsey all have something to say about it. Liam Bowman's had his 5-second penalty that he picked up earlier on wiped out in the pit stop because of that safety car. It is still anyone's race.
Yeah, a few people as well requesting batteries and all that. I can tell you it is very much even between the top 3 at around 70%. Give or take, Sammy Shemsey on around 38. And just look how close he is, though, to the back of the front 3, being led by Kai Pearson at the moment. 1/10 between him and Volokongan. Kai is about to get eaten alive. There is no doubt about it. Not literally. YouTube terms of service hopefully won't be banning us, but we are about to see a prime example of Kai Pearson, who needs to hold on to the race lead this evening, be overtaken by Volokongan. Then Tim as well in the slipstream potentially, but Volokongan has the lead for now.
And there goes Tim as well, up the inside. He's making no... Oh, Sammy Shemsey's gone for it as well. There's a little bit of contact between the two championship rivals there. Liam Bowman's right in there. This is going to be... Oh, there's contact, and I think that's front wing damage to Liam Bowman.
I didn't see any front wing flying off, but there was certainly contact with the side pod of Joe Murphy. Once I flick back to that, either way, he's through Liam Bowman. Kai Pearson held on to Sammy Shemsey, so we're back to where we were. More damage for Liam Bowman. I saw a bit flying off there. Enzo gets through both of them on the inside of turn 1. It's got too much. It's got too much, and Bowman's around.
So Bowman got the damage early. Then Joe Murphy clipped the back end of him, which was a second damage. And all of a sudden, it's... Wow. Mental. And it's Sammy, Enzo, and Kai Pearson for this championship battle. There's 2 points between Kai Pearson. Kai Pearson just needs to finish ahead of Enzo, and he's won this championship.
He does. If Enzo in this position gets through, then Enzo would score 12 points, Kai Pearson 10. That would see them finish level on points in the championship.
Oh, goodness.
And then we go to countback, and I've got my notes on countback. Enzo cannot win on countback because Kai Pearson would have more wins than him in that position. This is now where it starts to get mathematical. I hope everyone's on their toes. Tim was closing for the lead. Sammy Shemsey's got defending to do because he's not yet back in the DRS of the top 2.
Oh, Flopman up the inside, late on Schumacher, late on Tom as well. And that was very, very, very close. Interesting. Sammy Shemsey is over a second behind the front 2 runners. So that is I don't want to say it's a sure thing that he's trying to hold up Kai Pearson to allow Enzo some massive points here. But his ERS usage is absolutely... Well, both McLarens are up under 20%.
Joe Murphy is retired in the pit lane. That will be due to damages incurred in that crash. Quantum, Moba, Flopman, Schumacher, all still fighting. There is a chance for a last gas safety car, and that would charge everybody's batteries back to normal. But Sammy Shems's ERS is looking worrying for the position he's in, that he needs to get onto those top 2. I could have been bang on with my Volokongan prediction, but Tim's mediums are going to be in this. We could see an eighth different winner in 11 races in Tier 1 this season, just to add to the ridiculous stats we've been discussing all evening. There's going to be 3 laps to go when we cross the line. Kai Pearson's using overtake. He's gaining on Sami Shemsi already. Is he going to take command? He needs the points to be able to do this. Tim's gone for the lead, but this is arguably more important. Kai Pearson now 2 positions ahead of Sami Shemsi, who's back up the inside. Kai Pearson needs to do the switchback, but Enzo's there as well. Kai still in the middle of the 2 McLarens.
And look in the background as well, Quantum battling away with Schumacher and Flotman, and there's drivers' cars all over the place. Schumacher getting a 3-second time penalty, but back to the lead. The championship lead, I guess. Sami Shemsi, Enzo, and Kai Pearson. Enzo, I think, was allowed through from Sami Shemsi, which is a thank you from earlier on, I think.
So now, this is Kai Pearson scoring 15, Enzo 12. It's a 3-point swing either way. So if Enzo makes this move on Kai Pearson, he pretty much wins the championship, though he's got to maintain it. That is what is on the line here, with 2.5 laps to go.
The final podium position is the championship decider between Enzo and Kai Pearson. Enzo has Sami Shemsi as a rear gunner, I suppose, but I think this kind of works in Kai Pearson's favour. If Enzo gets past and Sami doesn't, that's the crucial thing. If Enzo gets past and Sami doesn't, I don't know. This is all mathematically going through. Let's go back. Enzo, I suppose. I can't really see the leaders of this race. It's all about the championship.
My heart is pounding. I cannot begin to describe what these guys are feeling at the moment, particularly Kai and Enzo. Sami potentially feels a lot more relaxed, knowing that he's not really involved, despite being in the mathematical hunt still. Enzo had a bit of a swapper coming out of the hairpin. The softs are starting to get rough to use. It needs to be an unbelievable bit of defence from Kai. He needs to watch that battery. It's gone from 45 to 35 in the space of a sector, and that could only give Enzo more incentive to push on for the lead as they almost rub nose to rear diffuser through the first 2 corners.
How close is this going to be for the championship? The penultimate lap 27 of 28. It's been hammer and tong with all of them. It's unlucky for Liam Bowman. He's out of this Grand Prix. He's out without a chance of winning this one. Kai Pearson and Enzo, though, it's down to these 2. This is it. Who's going to do it? Markados retires in the pit lane. We're down to 13 drivers. Funnily enough, that's how many drivers that were in Tier 2 earlier on today. But Enzo, right there with Kai Pearson. But are those softs in a worse position than the worn mediums that Kai Pearson is on?
Oh, I don't know. If anybody could just bring up the live tyre wear for us. The temperatures as well, let's consider that. The engine temperature, all the different factors that could make this move for Enzo look a whole lot harder on paper. Either way, he's getting DRS. That's 4/10 without any ERS usage. Neither is Kai Pearson. Let's see how much he gains before they go to the final lap. He's going for the move, potentially for the championship. Down the inside, Kai's been hit by Sami Shemsi. That was almost a McLaren double team there on Kai Pearson. That gives him a big enough gap, to start the final lap.
Oh my goodness me. Wow. Sami was, I think, a little late in that move. Enzo is in a great position here, though. 13% ERS, 30 to Kai Pearson. Sami pushing, trying desperately to help his teammate out here. It's just not happening. We're going to have to stay on board with this because down into turn 6, it's going to be just as chaotic for Sami Shemsi. He goes to the outside, darts to the inside, and there's contact between the 2, and it's going to be Enzo.
Oh. Wow. I cannot believe it. Sami Shemsi's had to go for that because he wants his teammate to win the championship. And just like the Abu Dhabi controversy we were alluding to, we've had a taste of our very own action of that. Enzo, clear run to the line with nobody behind him, nobody in front of him. Take it easy, you've got a sector to go.
Oh, wow. Let's go to NLR Tim, who is leading this Grand Prix. We haven't watched him because of everything else. and he has made everything work in his favour. He's got to defend from Volokongan. He came into the pits when he needed to. Sammy Shemsy's going to be overtaken by Schumacher, I think, down the back straight there. Volokongan's desperate to try and overtake. It's going to be very, very close across the line, but it is going to be NL Tim to take victory with Volokongan in second place. But it's this man who's going to finish in third place that wins the championship. Wow, that is one hell of a race.
Enzo Soom, you are the WOR Crossplay Tier 1 champion and the first driver from PlayStation to do it in the 3 seasons that we've been racing across the 2 platforms. Unbelievably, it came down to the final lap, and unbelievably, we have a collision to talk about. It was not what we wanted. 28 laps into the best title finale in WR history, but Enzo's recovery throughout the course of the last few races, he has been the man just plucking away at results. 3 podiums in the last 4 rounds before tonight, make that 4 in his last 5, and he's done the work later in the season, and you cannot fault him one bit for that. Congratulations to him. What a great guy he is, and I hope he very much enjoys his prize.
Wow. We'll just take a little bit of time to recover. And Enzo wasn't, I think he was 25% chance in the end of taking title. I think it fluctuated throughout the stream. Oh my goodness me. It's something that has happened tonight. And the chat is all kicking off, but it's Tim who takes victory from 12th on the grid. Fair play to him. Volokongan in second place from 14th on the grid. He's done a fantastic job. Enzo in third, claiming the championship in third there because of that finish. Sammy Shemsy in fourth, fifth to Quantum, sixth to Matuka, Shizu Tom in seventh, eighth to Moba, ninth to Stefano, Keke in 10th. Kai Pearson, in the end, I think, just didn't finish the race. He went down to 13th place. Schumacher in 11th and Flotman in 12th there, as we just see all the DNFs through it all as well. So we have a championship claimed. I think both our face says it all, really. It's really controversial.
It's controversial, but it's not Enzo's fault. Enzo's won the championship. He did all of his work. It was the 2 behind in first and fourth in the championship that came together because Kai had more DRS. He wanted to hold the position. He was always going to squeeze Sammy, and Sammy was always going to go for that move into turn 6 to try and stop him from making that move. It's that simple, and then it's just gone that one step too far, the drivers collides, and everybody's a little bit unhappy. But the positives, that was an 8th different Tier 1 winner this season. Volokongan, first podium of the season. Enzo, very much a thoroughly deserved winner of the championship, considering that, you know, if Spa didn't happen as well, and he spun in that race, he would have had a lot bigger leads. There are so many talking points from that race alone, but over the whole season, it has been fantastic.
Definitely heartbreaking for Kai Pearson, leading every round until the end. Really unfortunate. I don't know what to say on that.
Well, we're forgetting a couple of things, and I'm not surprised because my brain is fried, but Enzo had 2 collisions in that race with Quantum. So it could still go to the stewards.
Oh,
Kai finished 7.4 off the race leads, and that will be reinstated because of a glitch. So if there is any... it has to be Quantum that reports it, if anything he felt was wrong. If there's a 5-second penalty, it could go to court, is what I'm going to say.
2021 all over again.
Yeah!
Wow. We are going to wait and see if we do. I mean, I'd love to get interviews, but also on the same time, it's very opinionated at this point, isn't it? You know, you don't want people saying something that in the heat of the moment that they don't actually mean.
Yeah. It's a shame because I mentioned there was a great respect. It was always going to be racy today. It was always going to come down to the wire if they were all so close on track. Bowman, Joe Murphy, a separate incident, of course, and still I'm gutted for Liam Bowman on that one. But yeah, it just didn't finish how we maybe wanted it to as neutrals here in the commentary box. Either way, I thoroughly invite an interview if anybody's around. But thank you to everyone that's still sticking around because I know we've got some news for you shortly.
Yep, stick with us. The calendar will be very, very shortly. We'll give it a couple of minutes for the drivers to see if they do want to come and speak to us or not. But oh my goodness me, the Tier 1 chat is really kicking off. Wow. Guys, I mean, is it how you expected, chat? Let us know. Did we expect this to come down to this? I mean, I know I said at the beginning of the stream, oh, maybe we're going to get it. I didn't really think it was going to get down to a whole 2021 Abu Dhabi controversy.
Came down to a safety car, didn't it? We thought there was a lifeline for some drivers. Kai Pearson getting it wrong in terms of his tyres, but is always something that that the race leader, it's a call he has to make. And he's never been an advocate of safety cars, so I cannot imagine how he felt there and then. Either way, can I make a calendar leak? There's no China next season.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Enzo, if you're still available, if you throw yourself into the waiting for interview chat, we'll throw you in. Hopefully Enzo will be able to hear us. Enzo, are you... Oh no, he's not. He's gone again. What on earth is... If he goes back into the waiting for interview, I'll let you push him into the chat this time, because apparently whenever I do it, it just it goes wrong. Yes, the calendar is quite a tasty one, isn't it? Quite a tasty one for next season. Let's keep on the not non-spoiler, but it ends how it should end and starts how it normally starts.
Yeah, you could say that. Say that. I did just tell the biggest lie of all time, potentially, but you'll find out in a minute.
Or did you?
Did I?
So, Enzo, I'm going to let you pull Enzo into the...
I will try, yes.
Hopefully Enzo will be able to have a chat with us this time, and he's disappeared.
Not again.
I am... This is really annoying, because I would love to be able to, but I just don't think technology is working on our side tonight.
How is this happening to the champion?
We'll give it a couple more minutes. We'll do one last chance. Is it... I don't want to say is it fair. The way the season's gone, Enzo's a deserving champion.
Yeah. Any one of the four could have been. Enzo is the lucky man. I won't say lucky. That's harsh on the basis of things, but the second half of his season, if anybody wants to check the spreadsheet, if you've not watched throughout the course of the season, I wouldn't have even put a penny on him. After the 3-4 races where he went a couple of races without any points at all. Second half of the season, he's flicked the switch, been really consistent, and it was the consistency we were alluding to in terms of who could become the champion. So yeah, fair play to him.
Definitely. I mean, gutting for Liam Bowman. That was not how you would have. I mean, I'm definitely going to go watch back the incident between him and Joe Murphy, but then definitely watch the incident between Kai Pearson and Sammy Shemsi. It's that incident. I don't want to say it, but that incident possibly has costed Kai the championship, which is really annoying.
Yeah, apparently we need to join Enzo in the waiting for interview, but I don't know if that will mess things up. So
I'll tell you what. Let's move over to the podium screen. It will do momentarily. We'll just have to come back into this chat after having a chat with him. Oh, goodness me. While we wait for everything to pop through, hopefully Joseph can hear me and all is good. But we will wait and continue for Enzo, because we really should speak to the champion.
we should. It's a WR ritual, and well, there's a lot to talk about. If anybody hadn't have noticed, which is why we're trying to get him in here. Enzo, you need to join us in waiting for interview now. If it works, let's see. Oh, we have life.
Enzo's here.
Hello, Enzo.
Hello, yo.
How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I mean, I'm just feeling really good right now.
Is there any reason why you're feeling good?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you can check Twitter or thing like that.
Is that because you are the WOR Crossplay Tier 1 champion following an unbelievable sprint to the finish and unbelievable second half of the season, which led you being so close?
Yeah, that's probably for that.
Talk us through that race, start to finish.
I'm gonna be honest, it was a terrible race from start to almost finish. Like, my quality was like almost absolutely terrible. And then my race pace wasn't ideal. I tried to be a bit more aggressive, but it didn't work out. And yeah, I've been a bit lucky with that safety car. And then on the soft, I had quite a good pace, managed to overtake some cars. The most important one to overtake was actually Kai. But most of the thing I want to thank so much Sammy, who I think without him I couldn't have win this jump today. Because like he made such a big job for me, and yeah, I just can't describe how much I love him right now.
No, honestly, it's amazing. Your teamwork throughout the course of the season, attending every race, and even from round one in Bahrain, where you guys were working together, it's been so evident that Veloce Academy bond has been there throughout. But either way, I just want to talk about the safety car, softs versus mediums. Obviously, there's always a bit of a debate in the minds of drivers and engineers as that it's so close to the end, you're not quite sure what tyres to go on. What was your thoughts in that moment?
At the moment, when the safety car came out, I just thought that the soft will be the faster tire because there will be only 10 or 9 laps to go and maybe 2 or 3 laps behind the safety car. And I knew that new softs could last like 11 or 12 laps. So I was like, the softs are going to be faster for like 6 or 7 laps compared to the mediums. And then at the end it will be difficult, but actually they were faster for the whole stints. So yeah, I think that was the right deal.
Yeah, once again, congratulations to... I'll let Gareth ask you a couple of questions now, because I'm sure he's got some in him.
And Enzo, what a race! But surely, when you were before the safety car, what was going through your head when you were a little bit far off the pace? Well, not far off the pace, but just far off the chasing pack.
I was like, it's not over because Liam got a pen into the pit lane, I think. And yeah, we tried the undercut to get back into the lead fight, And yeah, my goal was just to follow Sam, who had a bit more pace because he was on 1 lap fresher tires. And then my goal, was try to recharge my battery and try to get past Kai because it was one of my last rival at this point because Liam had that penalty. So yeah, just before the safety car, there was still hope, but from lap 1 to 13 or 14, I was completely depressed. I was like, yeah, it's over, fuck's sake. But actually, everything went our way, so yeah, I need to say that I've been quite a bit unlucky through the whole season, but for this race, I need to say that I've been the most luckiest guy in the world.
And sometimes, champions, they need luck, and it comes back to you. That's what karma is. But what's now going to happen to Enzo? What are you going to be moving on to, and how are you going to go on from this? Are we going to see you in season 17, or is this your move?
I actually don't know right now. Maybe I'm gonna do next season on console. Like, it will depend if I can get a PC or not between this and next season, and then yeah, we'll just see what happens.
And if you do stay with the console, how confident are you of retaining the title?
Like 100%.
Good. That's a nice answer, isn't it? 100%. Love it. Enzo, before you go, Joseph, have you got anything else to ask Enzo?
I've not. Oh,
Oh,
I think that was to me. But if you wanna, if you wanna ask us anything,
Yeah, Enzo, ask us.
can go.
No. Again, I just want to congratulate you because again, I know how hard everybody works for that, and I've just seen some accreditation for your engineers as well in the live chat. Anything you want to say to them?
I love you, probably, and thanks for helping me throughout the whole season.
I'll let you go and enjoy your evening because you very much deserve something on us after that. Well done again, Enzo.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for that beautiful commentary for the whole season, guys.
No
Pleasure,
problem,
mate.
Enzo.
Thank you.
Well, Enzo is your season 16 console tier 1 champion. Deserved. Any one of them, as Joseph quite rightly mentioned, is deserving of that championship. But, wow. Joseph, I've just moved us into the normal chat box, so I can get cameras and stuff back and sorted. But oh goodness me, without controversy with it all, very humble. Enzo, perfect. What a champion. Deserved it. It's going to be brilliant throughout. But I suppose the waiting is over for the calendar reveal for console first. We'll do console first. And here it is. We start on February the 29th in Bahrain. What a way to start the season. Very reminiscent of previous seasons. Then we go to Saudi Arabia. Always a lovely track there. Lovely information. Just lovely race. Nice and tight, but not without its controversy as well. Imola is round 3. It's on March the 14th. Azerbaijan is March the 21st. Always a interesting race there as well. Then we go to Canada. We haven't been to Canada for a little while, have we? That's going to be an interesting one. Short, similar to Austria. Round 6 is Monza. And not Imola, because Imola is round 3.
Don't. I'll get onto that in a minute.
That's an inside joke between the commentary team. Italy, then Monza round 6 on April the 11th. April the 18th, we go back to China for maybe a little less controversy. Austria, round 8. Going to be a very, very interesting one there, and I can't wait to actually commentate on that one. Miami in the 2nd of May, and then the 9th of May is Brazil. What a way to end the season. I love Brazil and the Sao Paulo track. I think it's a brilliant way to end the season. What's your thoughts on the calendar list for the console?
Well, first of all, reduced from 11 to 10 races. That's for an early May finish, just so it's before the usual exam period, because I know attendance does tend to struggle, and it has done throughout the course of even Tier 2, Tier 3 at the end of the season. Has been struggling. But yeah, as always, WR trying to cycle through different tracks. Obviously, Azerbaijan, Canada for the first time on this game. Miami as well, they're being used, considering we had the other two USA rounds this season as well. And I will mention my Italy blunder. So I was writing it down, prepared for my notes. And I asked Luke before we started, Is Italy Imola or Monza? And then, because I'm blindly taking down notes, he goes, well, considering Imola is round 3, yes, it's Monza. So don't make that same mistake and ask the day before the race, guys, if it's Imola or Monza. Monza is round 6, Imola is round 3. Let's just clear that up, but maybe it's only me that's stupid.
Yeah, just make sure you check the. No, that wasn't me saying yep that you're stupid. It was me just agreeing that you should check. People should check the calendar. I realise that possibly is a faux pas on my end. Anyway, let's go to the PC side of things. So the PC calendar will be Bahrain, are very very similar to what we've got actually here. I don't think there is a change at all. It's just the dates. It's just the fixed dates for the PC calendar.
Dates.
So it is Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Imola, Azerbaijan, Canada, Italy, China, Austria, Miami, and then finishing at Brazil in May. What a way to end the season. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Just giving you the a calendar for the console again before I head over to our lovely faces for the last time in Season 16. Joseph, how do we sum up this insane season?
The pinnacle of console racing, right here in WOR. No, we've had some unbelievable races, and it's just mind blowing to me that we're through 2 seasons of racing on F1 23 already. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The championship came to a captivating final here in China, and well, it just sums up the season. Championship contenders colliding. Everything going on, lots of different winners, lots of different pole sitters. It has never been more competitive at the front of console racing. That's always because as well a lot of drivers are moving on to PC, including Kai Pearson. Enzo now potentially hoping to make that switch because he knows he's got the PC potential in him. It's always been a stepping stone, but the best stepping stone there is, F1 esports.
Definitely, and we've had them all. Reese Linton, the most recent, but then also Otis Lawrence, Tom Manley, and also the unforgettable Thomas Ronha have all come through the WOR Xbox or console tier championship, and who can forget Smokey as well. I do apologise, Smokey, but all these drivers have all been champions here at the tier 1 side of WOR console or Xbox, and it's been great to see. And wow, what a season it has been. I am thrilled to have had you alongside me for all this one, Joseph. It's been a fantastic season. The highs, the lows, the in-betweens, I don't want to say boring races because there really wasn't a boring races, but the boring parts to the most insane things going on. I felt like this season was this race as a whole. We have had everything in this race apart from rain, and wow, that would have just sent it over the edge. But thank you to the viewers as well. It's been great to have you alongside us. We'll be back next season, I believe. I think that's how it is definitely going to go. So we'll be great to see you all there as well. You have been a fantastic audience. Thank you so much for everything. And I tell you what, if you've enjoyed this race, go watch the other 10 races because it's been building up to this one. But for now, thank you and goodbye.